Okay, let's go. So we're starting a new simon today. Simon Shin Samach Gimel, a long simon, a very interesting simon. Dinei Mavoi Lechi. So now we're going to encounter all the halachas of Mavoi and Lechi. This is real practical Erevin. Says the Mechaba, Aleph. Markham Sheyesh Shalosh Mechitzas. You got a place where you've got three walls. Asru Chacham Nataltel by Achiyasa Shum Tikun Bervias. The rule is you've got a chotzer which has got three walls and the fourth wall is open. Chazal instituted that you've got to be masakein the revius. You're not allowed to be metaltal in there unless you fix up the fourth wall. Says in Mishnah Berurah, Hainu Kagoin Mavoi Pasuach L'Ruach Revius. It's open to the fourth wall. A chotzer shenifratz echad mikoslav, or a chotzer. Either a Mavoi, the fourth wall is totally open, or a chotzer shenifratz echad mikoslav, a chotzer where one of the walls has breached, and it's open onto a karmelis or rabim. Chazal will geizer that you can't carry in that chotzer and that Mavoi until you fix up the wall. We'll see how soon. Osru chacham letaltel. Why? Shir abamas. You can't carry 4 amas. For tam she'osru. The reason why they asked it, kimin sheruach revius posuach legamrei because that Mavoi or that chotzer which is open, which is lacking the fourth wall, or which is porot, it's sort of next to a Rosh Hashanah or a karmelis. It looks a little bit like a Rosh Hashanah. Ve'inatir bazeh yavo letaltel bo b'Rosh Hashanah. Gam b'Rosh Hashanah. And if you're allowed to carry in it, you might come to carry in a Rosh Hashanah as well. If you take a look at footnote number 2, which is on the next. Where is it? It's a little bit confusing. This, which is on the next page, which is on. Can you see the next page with all the diagrams of the arches? So in number 2, where it says Simon Shin Samach Gimel, it says there another reason. Tam Nois of Koster Rabbeinu Yonason in Erevin. It's the other way around. You might come to carry from the Rosh Hashanah into it. Okay, so again, what have we said over here? Well, let's just finish off the Mishnah Berurah, then I'll summarize. Sif Cotton Gimel, Shum Tikkun Bervias, Hainu Kumavur Lekam, Sif Beis V'Gimel Lechol Echad Kedinai. In other words, you've got a Mavoi which is open onto a Rosh Hashanah or a karmelis, or you've got a chotzer where the fourth wall is gone. Chazal say you've got to fix it up. How? We're going to do that in a minute in Sif Beis and Sif Gimel. What is the problem? Because since it's abutting a karmelis or a Rosh Hashanah, the concern is you might treat this open chotzer, this open Mavoi, as a Rosh Hashanah, and if you allow that, then you're void taltel gam b'Rosh Hashanah, or according to Rabbi Yonason and Erevin, that you might come to carry from the Rosh Hashanah into this chotzer or Mavoi. Okay, now base. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Chotzer shenifratz b'meluei. You got a chotzer which is the fourth wall is fully open, and it's open onto a karmelis or into a Rosh Hashanah. Ad ese amas nite bepas rochav arbot tfachim. So how do you fix it? So if the opening is less than or up to 10 amas, then you just need to put a pas rochav arbot tfachim, a beam, a piece of wood, which is 4 tfachim wide. Sheyamidenu mitzad echad b'mokum haparutz. That's all you need to do. Now take a look on the next page. And it's number 4, you got a picture of it. Right? So you've got a chotzer, you've got some houses in the chotzer. Can you see that on the bottom left? And then you've got you've got 3 walls, but the front wall is missing. And that's opened on to a karmelis or to Rosh Hashanah. So then you can't carry in that chotzer. Minat Torah, it's okay. But midrabanon, it's as we said, they made a gezerah. So how do you remedy it? You build that 4 tefachim wide wall at the entrance. Okay, that is how you remedy it. So again, let's read the Mechaba. Chotzer shenifratz b'meluyei ad ese amas nitze bepas rechev arbot tefachim. You just put a piece of material 4 tefachim wide. She'amidenu mitzad echad b'mokum haparetz. On the breached wall, you put it on the sides, like in that diagram. And if you want to fix it in a different way, on both sides of the open wall, all you need is two thin strips on either side. So you've got an opening fourth wall. Either you put the pas arba tvachim on one side, or you put sort of a pas or like a lechi type thing on either side, which is even very thin. That would also remedy it.
If the space is smaller than 10 amas?
This is if the opening is less than 10 amas. And we're going to see soon, if it's more than 10 amas, then you need the tzuras HaPesach. So that's why if you, for example, if you go up the road to Rabbi Bixenspanner's house, he's got tzuras HaPesach in front of his front drive. So that's because it's wider than 10 amas. So there you would need the tzuras HaPesach, which is the two verticals and the horizontal, the wire across. Okay, so we'll see that it's actually now, it's coming up now. Fuhuadin, where are we? Fuhuadin in Shtai boem kais revi dai b'shnei pasin shalom b'shnei mashruin. So then, if you want to do that on both sides, you have two thin pasin, even a very thin strips. That would suffice. Fuhuadin in Shtai mehem kais revi bonu kashia b'tvachim b'makom echad, and so too, if you've got the sort of the side wall curves round a bit and it comes into the front by 4 tefachim in one place, that would also work. Now I think he's got a picture of it. Now this picture is in the back. You've got to jump around here a bit. Yeah, if you jump to the back, page 8, and you go to footnote number 6, he's got a picture of it. So basically exactly the same picture as we've had now, but it's just that side wall is curved round, and that dalet tefachim, it comes dalet tefachim into the breach. And can you see that, Sholi? Yeah, you see it? Picture number 6. So you see it's exactly the same as the pas haba tefachim. It's just that is the side wall. It just goes round a bit. So it's functioning as pas haba tefachim. So that would also suffice. Okay. So that is how you're fixing all of this. Or if you've got on the side walls, it comes in a tefach on either side. That also would work. Now these remedies, this pas that we're talking about, has got to be at least 10 tefachim high. Even if the piritza is less than 4 tefachim, turn over 2 pages, shehu b'milui, since it's across the whole front of this mavoi or chotzer, tzarich tikun ad shei b'pachim mishlesh. You got to fix it to make it less than 3 tefachim. This is your case, Eli. If, however, the opening is more than 10 amas, even if it's not across the whole of the front of your chotzer or mavoi, then then you got to fix it with the tzuras HaPesach. Okay? So basically, we're talking about a chotzer or a mavoi, which goes on to either a kamenis or a surabim. If it's less than 10 amas, the opening, then you put pas arba on the side, or 2 mashruhin, 2 thin pasin on either side. But if it's bigger than 10 amas, then you would need a tzuras HaPesach. That's the key points from this sif. Okay, let's see the Mishnah Berurah.
Why is the minimum pas for the pas arba?
Oh, good questions. If you look on the side, in your Be'er HaGoila, can you see the left-hand column next to the Mechaba, on page ratio test? Yeah, can you see on this, it says ice hey? But basically also Kotzav Lav Dafka Tefach, the Mashru Mikan Sagi. And the Mishnah Berurah brings this. The truth, why it says that, I don't know, but the truth is even a Mashru would suffice. Yeah, good point. Well spotted. Says the Mishnah Berurah Sif Katan Dalet, Shenifratz, Ratzaloima, Lemokum Ha'osala. That's an important point. It breaches open to a place where you cannot carry, i.e. this Carmelis or this Risharabim. In other words, the whole of the front wall is gone. Ad esa amas, says the Mishnah Berurah Sif Katan Vav, va'ad bichlal, up to and including 10 amas. So normally we say that if there's a breach of 10 amas, you've got a problem. So how come here that it's up to and including 10 amas, we say that the 10 amas is considered as less than 10 amas? So here, since the whole wall is deficient, you can't really call it an opening, an entranceway. So therefore we're more strict when you've got it when it's exactly 10 amas. Like in the diagram, it's at the front of the wall. Tefach mikan. This is your point, Eli. Lav dafka tefach. It would actually be sufficient to have 2 thin strips on either side. That would remedy it. Like we said with pasin, or Yeah, so that's the Beis Yosef that was brought in the Ber HaGoyla. Begoiva asar tfachim, the height of these pasanim have got to be 10 tfachim. Ve'ein sorich sheyesh shava begoiva l'shar haksalim. It doesn't have to be as high as the wall. So, in the picture, on the next, for example, if you look at the back of the picture on the next page, it so happens that his pas is as high as the wall. But it can be lower. So long as it's 10 tfachim, it doesn't have to be as high as the wall. Ve'ein sorich sheyesh shava begoiva l'shar haksalim. Miu, but pachas mizeh ain't a love shem mechitza klal. But if it's less than 10 tfachim, it hasn't got a shem mechitza. Given shehu b'miluyai, high b'miluyai lav dafka. It doesn't have to be the whole opening. Ta'afilim nishtayim me'akeiz nishtayim shleisha tfachim. Even if you've got 2 or 3 tfachim of the wall, kol shel miut legabi aparat tzarich tikun. So anything would need some sort of tikkun. We're coming to exclude the situation where there is a wall which is omed meruba. That we assume that the majority is like the whole thing, and therefore it's as if it's closed up. So long as it's a little bit more than the opening, then it's considered omed meruba, and it's as if it's kulososum. You've got to somehow fix the breach to the extent that you've closed off a gap to make it less than 3. Then you apply the din of lovad, and therefore it's as if it's closed up properly. And if the breach was less than 3 in the first place, you don't need to rectify it, because it's as if it's closed up. What's this going on? Right. If the opening is more than 10 amos, then you need the tzuras haPesach. Says the Mishnah Berurah, i.e., even if the opening is more than 10 amos, but it's not the entire front wall, you can have an opening of 10 amos, and you've got a sort of partly walled fourth wall. But if it's more than 10 amos, you've got a problem. So then you've got to have a tzuras haPesach. So in other words, even if you've got omed meruba in the front wall, so picture your chotzer and you've got a front drive and you've got a very wide front drive, and you could have, let's say it's 38 amos wide, and you could have 18 amos wall and a 12 amos opening. Even though it's omed meruba, you've still got a problem, because you've got an opening more than 10 amos, and it's not enough to put 2 pas or 1 pas or 2 pas in there. You need to have a tzuras haPesach on that opening which is more than 10 amos wide. Okay, that is the end of base. Gimel. Mavoi sheyesh lo shalosh mechitzas. So you got a mavoi. Now if you look at picture number 12, it's on the page, you don't have to jump around here. You've got a mavoi. Now that's the classic Mishnah residential setup. You've got 2 houses in the little chotzer, and then next to it you've got another chotzer with a couple of houses, and both of those chotzeres lead onto a mavoi, and the mavoi leads onto a rishus harabim. So that's the classic setup. So that's what we're describing over here. So again, Gimel. Mavoi sheyesh lo shalosh mechitzas. So that mavoi has got 3 mechitzas, right? You've got the side wall on the right, you've got the back wall, and then you've got the wall which is on the left, which is in front of the chatzeres. So Mavoi sheyesh lo shalosh chatzeres, or poros mitzad ravi, and it's open on the 4th wall. So that's exactly how he's drawn it there in that diagram. Hitiru belechi. All you need there is a lechi. So that is the thing on the front. The Pirush Targum. Now, what's the lashon of a lechi? Pirush Targum hakeresh ha'echad in parshas which we're not far away from, in Truma and Tetzaveh. When you talk about the kroshim, the Targum is lucha chado. So it's a lechi is like a abbreviated form of lucha chado. Lechi is like a keresh. It's a beam. She'ovye v'roch by kol shehu. The thickness and the width is a kol shehu. Sheyamidena b'pesach hamavoi. You put it at the entrance to the mavoi. V'hoyeh gavoi asar tfachim, and it's 10 tefach high. Umikol dava sheyasenu kasha. And whatever you make it out of, the material is fine. Afilu mibali chaim. Even if you use an animal and you put it there, that will count as a lechi, and it will be masake in your mavoi. Ubilvad sheyikshirenu sham b'chavolim lekosei hamavoi. So long as you tie it properly, you secure it to a peg that is fixed to the wall. But Inyan she'eni yochel lirbaitz, that the animal won't be able to crouch down. Why? Because while standing it can be 10 tvachim, but when it crouches down, then it's going to be less than 10 tvachim when you've lost your lechi. Vafilu kosher sham adam nami have a lechi. Even if you tie a person there, that would also work. Okay, good. Says the Mishnah Berurah. Hetir belechi. Va'af b'chotze bo'in and dafka pas rochav abot tvachim. With hacha hekilu chachamim. Even though we said in the previous sif that you need a pas of 4 tvachim, here chachamim were more mekel. V'hatam, and the reason is shekol shehu asu yoyse ledira, anything which is used for more residential usage, or l'tashmisha hatzneim for private use, tzarich mechitzas yoyse gemuras. We need more sort of sturdy, fixed mechitzas. Leficha chachatzeret shedarken shel balabatim l'shtamish ban yoyser b'tashmish hatzneim v'lechol. Chatzeres, which are more private, they're more secluded, and therefore they'll be used more for more private residential use to eat and things like that. The mechitzas need to be more sturdy and firm. To give it the proper status of Rish Yochid. These mavos, you're not going to, eat out there. It's a bit more public. You don't do so many private things there. That's why the mavoi only needs a lechi at the entrance. That's only when the Pesach is not more than 10 amas. Okay, kol shehu, and it's got to be it can be very thin. The lechi there in picture number 12, can even be pachas mi'etzba. If you look at footnote 13, he says something very interesting. Even if you sort of paint the sides and you limestone it, that could be your lechi. Because of Mishnah Berurah Sham, the Mishnah Berurah, however, does right there. The liming, the plastering has got to be a little bit, have a little bit of a bit tangible. V'dvar of him shaloi kadas hamaram sheviu Mordechai. He says it's got to be at least an etzba thick, which is which is quite thick. Just having a bit of plaster with a bit of mamoshas would not suffice. Okay, but either way, it's much thinner than the pas sarbo. It can be a kol shehu, and according to the Maram, at least the chut of an etzba. Okay. But Pesach Hamavi, Sif Cotton Tezvov, Ayin Lekaman Sif Lamed Aleph. Okay, Asar Tfachim. So the height of this lechi has got to be at least 10 tfachim. Muruvachim. Now there are different types of tfachim. There's sometimes tzumtzum and sometimes muruvach. And he says that this 10 tfachim has got to be muruvach v'lo metzumtzomim. Chidush Rabbi Eiga. Well, what does that mean? He brings there in the beginning of footnote 14 that the Tosefes al tefach muruvach al tefach metzumtzum is chatzi etz b'la'ama. The difference between them, the more generous tefach over the thinner tefach, is approximately chatzi etz b'la'ama. Okay, so we have a mashaychik, there are different types of measures, but this is what we're talking about over here. So it's got to be machmir. It's got to be a meruvach tikat asar tvachim. V'asar tvachim mahani afilu lemavik shegva esrim amo. And that lechi of 10 tefach height helps even for a very tall mavoi. V'afilu koshar, and even if you tie it, even a human being. Umayri shelo hudir shemid v'shem lechi. You don't tell the guy why he's there. Just stand there and just tie yourself to the wall. Yeah, you don't tell him why, because because otherwise he'll go. That's why he's got to be tied there, and then even a human being could serve as a lechi. And there are those who are machmir that even if you tell him that he's functioning as a lechi, maybe he'll forget. And he'll go on. Okay, let's just do a little bit more. Daled im yesh ktsas kaisel burach revi. If there's a little bit of wool on the fourth side, olim mishum lechi, or bevad sheboy roichav tefach. Yeah, like the picture we saw in the other one. So if the wool comes round, that right hand side wool comes round a little bit, even a tefach, that would suffice. Says the Mishnah Berurah Yudches, after lo nasa l'shem lechi, even if it wasn't made as a lechi, kaimel on the lechi or aimen meilov gam kein kasha. If it's a lechi which is there, it came by itself, it was built for a wall, and then you think, hey, I've got a lechi there, that works. Okay, let's just finish. Hey, lechi de inoshiv bozika. Interesting halacha. What about a lechi which the wind can move it a little bit? Lo motzikoi wouldn't be able to stand. Lo choshev lechi. Then it doesn't count as a lechi. So if the wind is going to move it, then that's no good. It's got to be somewhat sturdy. It says in the Mishnah Berurah, v'hu adin k'sha'is in tzuras hapesach, and so too for a tzuras hapesach, the lo odif memechitza. Because essentially the tzuras hapesach is serving as a mechitza, and therefore, just like a mechitza, which is ein yochel almid beruach matzuya, ein mechitza, also to this, va'afilu ein haruach mapiloi la'aretz and manida, even if it doesn't bring it to the ground, but it just moves it around, then kamesh kos b'simin shin samach beis sifalev, then it won't be good. If you look at footnote 17, just on the side there, he says v'das hachazanish shebein lechi or bein tzuras hapesach ein nifsalim elim kein haruach kof fosim lematza me'asara. It's got to be that it moves them fairly significantly. That it moves it to lower than 10 tefachim, or it moves it 3 tefachim away from the kaisel. The fact that it moves a little bit, that's not a problem. Very much like something there. Okay, let's just finish. Sifkat and Chaf Aleph. Something which moves in the wind, lo choshev lechi, says the Mishnah Berurah Chaf Aleph, nirali de'im halechi lemata eina mistaneh. If the bottom part of the lechi doesn't move, kagoin shekavua b'masmar, for example, it's nailed into the wall, or shekasha heitev, where it's securely tied, la'kaisel machmazein masnaneh ad meshech kavua asar tfachim. In other words, the first 10 tfachim of the lechi doesn't move because it's properly secured. For rak lemalahu mistaneh al yedei arach v'nei goivei, and just the top part of the lechi moves. Kasha, that's okay. The dal mashe lemala, you can remove the upper part nishema gamkein shir lechi, because then you've still got the bottom part, which is 10 tvachim, and that works as a lechi, so that would suffice. Okay, good. I will leave it there.